Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Sam.
And I'm Mike. Welcome back, everyone. It's part B, day 2. We are working a part-time job. You're at Burger King. I'm at KFC. I'm covered in oil and grease. I smell like fried chicken, but I'm making my own money, which is a great thing to do, especially when you're a young person. This is maybe your first job. You're still a student most of the time, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., whatever, you go to school. But then after school or maybe on the weekend and also during summer holidays when you have a lot more time, you can work a part-time job and make money, which is your money, not from your parents. It's in your pocket. You can go out and save it, spend it, do what you want. Yesterday we learned from Carter and Sabrina, thank you, that they were making a little bit more than the minimum wage, working kind of between 8 and 16 hours a week, something like that. And it was something they were both very happy to do.
Yes. And so today we're going to kind of be looking at things that might be a little bit tougher when you're at work.
Okay.
So, you've been at school, you've been usually with like the same kids all the time.
Teachers there take care of you.
Yeah, and then a part-time job is kind of like a little introduction to the real world because you're working with people from wherever and all different age ranges.
Some of them much older than you, right?
Yeah, and so you might face a lot more difficulties when you're at work or things that are difficult or hard or anything like that.
We could also call them challenges.
Yes.
Right?
And it's kind of a fun time to get to kind of experience this because, you can still quit and go back to your parents' house. And so it's not like the real life, but it's a good kind of introduction to real life that you can start to work on how do you work with people who are from all different backgrounds and age ranges and have been there longer than you, or now you're training someone. It's definitely interesting.
That's true, and you'll have lots of responsibilities. People will be depending on you to do your job, be on time, be professional, and you don't have your mother and father or teacher or someone there to help you and solve your problem. So yes, you may face difficulties, challenges, problems, things you have to work through. Let's find out about all of them with Ariana and Grant. Grant and Ariana share their difficulties at work.
Our shop's customers are pretty nice. However, one gave me trouble the other day.
We get those customers at the restaurant too. So, what did you do?
I did as I was trained. I spoke in a calm voice and helped the customer.
All right, yes, we are here with part B, difficulties at work. And when you have a difficulty, well, you have kind of a problem.
Yeah, because the word difficulty is the noun form of the word difficult.
It's difficult.
Yes, so if something is difficult, it's challenging, it's hard, it's not something that's easy, it bothers you in some way. So if you're facing a difficulty, you're facing something that is a bit of a challenge or a hardship that you have to figure out how to solve or handle. And if you are working in a part-time job, this could be a whole range of things from, again, difficulties with coworkers to even just difficulties with customers, because now you're in a job that maybe you have to deal with customers every day.
Right.
So today we have two people, Grant and Ariana, and they are going to share their difficulties at work.
Oh, okay. So let's find out, what is the challenge? What is the problem? What has happened at someone's job to kind of give them some worries or some difficulties in their life? What difficulty are they facing? Well, Grant goes first. He says, our shop's customers are pretty nice. All right, so that's good. We know, first of all, he works in a shop, so a store of some kind, not in a fast food restaurant, but more in a store type of place or a shop. And he says the customers are pretty nice. That means they're mostly nice. He's not saying they're good looking and pretty to look at. No, when you say they're pretty nice, they're quite nice. They're mostly nice. 90% of the customers are really easy to deal with and really easy to talk to. However, and of course there's a however or a but, This is about the people who aren't so nice. However, one gave me trouble the other day. Oh, we had a difficult customer, an unhappy customer. And of course, as a worker, he has to sort of deal with this. He has to manage this. And hopefully he can make the customer happy after having some trouble. We'll find out all about all of that after we go to Tina, who will give us no difficulties because she's so wonderful.
Hi, I'm Tina. 今天的对话是 Grant 和 Ariana 在分享工作上的难处。Grant 说，他们店里的客人都蛮友善的，不过前几天有个客人找他麻烦。我们先来看一下刚刚对话里提到的单字哦。Difficulty 名词困难。We had some difficulties at work. 我们在工作上遇到了一些困难。文法的部分 The other day 前几天。举例来说 The other day I met my old friend at the park. 前几天我在公园遇到了老朋友。接着我们回到对话当中。
All right, so we are back, and Grant has just said that most of the customers at his shop are great, but one was giving him trouble, and so Ariana is going to say, well, probably going to ask what is going on, and so she says,
what happened?
We get those customers at the restaurant too. So what did you do? So she knows she's also in a job that she is dealing with customers, and she's asking, well, how did you handle it? Because that's something that everybody kind of has to learn, is how to handle a customer. So it's not just a friend or a family member talking to you or getting mad about something. You have to figure out how to talk to them in kind of a professional way and still figure out things and not get too upset.
There you go. Of course, if it's someone you just meet walking around during the day, you can say, go away, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. But if you're at the job and your job is to work with the customers and you have a problem, you have to kind of find an answer to this. You have to solve the problem. So what did Grant do? Well, he tells Ariana, I did as I was trained. Okay, well, that's good. So he was trained. He was kind of taught by his boss and by other coworkers. This is what you do with an unhappy customer. If they complain, you can say this. You can try to do this for them to make them happy. So he was taught, or he was coached, or he was trained in what to do. And what was the training? Well, he learned, I spoke in a calm voice. I'm sorry you're upset. Maybe I can help you. I spoke in a calm voice and helped the customer, which is great. You don't want to go away, leave me alone, you crazy lady. I'm calling the police or something like that. No, you want to be calm. You want to keep control of your emotions and try to help the customer, try to make them happy at the end of this, problem solving that you're doing here. But yes, one of the main things to do in many times when you're dealing with angry, upset, difficult people is for you to try to be calm. When you're calm, it's basically keeping control of your emotions. You're not getting angry. You're not getting upset. It doesn't help if you start screaming or crying or doing things like that. Take a deep breath and keep your emotions under control, all right? You don't have to be super happy to be dealing with this difficult customer, but you don't want to lose control of your feelings and get really upset in any way.
Yes, and so here they're saying you should use a calm voice. So your voice, this noun, it just means the sound that comes out of your mouth when you are talking or singing or anything like that. That is called your voice. So here, if you are talking to a customer, especially one who is upset about something, having a calm voice can help that person also hopefully calm down too, because it's a lot easier to figure out a problem or solve the situation if you are both calmly talking about what is it that happened and what do you need and what can we do to fix it. So having a calm voice is a very good thing to do when you are working with customers.
Are you feeling calm? I'm feeling very calm. Let's go over to Tina and have a very enjoyable time with her.
Ariana 说，他们餐厅也会遇到那种客人。他问 Grant 是怎么处理的。Grant 说，他就照着培训时学的方式，用平静的语气帮助那位客人。我们来看单字哦 ，calm 就是形容词，指的是平静的。Sarah stayed calm during the test. Sarah 在考试中保持平静。Voice 名词，声音。My sister has a sweet voice. 我姐姐有着甜美的声音。文法的部分刚刚提到了 as 加上主词加动词，依照什么的方式。as 在这里指的是以什么的方式。我们来看看例句。Jenny cleaned the room as her mother told her. Jenny 照着妈妈告诉她的方式打扫房间。接着我们回到对话当中。
Okay, so we are back from that very calm
very
explanation.
Relaxing. Yes.
Yes. And so we've just looked a little bit about our two people, Ariana and Grant, having some difficult customers and how they kind of handled that situation.
That's right.
Yes, and so then we're going to get really soon we're going to get into the next part of the dialogue and see what else might they be talking about, especially when it comes to difficulties.
That's right.
At
Was
work.
Grant able to handle the problem that his difficult customer had? We'll find out in a second.
I also do that, but it doesn't always work.
The customer keeps complaining, right?
Yes, so the best thing for me to do is to get the manager.
Yeah, managers have the power to offer more to the customers.
Right, and our manager has our back.
All right, we are back talking about some trouble, some difficult days at work, and how you deal with angry, unhappy, upset customers. Now, Ariana was saying that in her job at a restaurant, she also has mostly great customers, but occasionally, yes, we have those difficult customers. So what does she do in her job if someone's unhappy?
Well, she says, I also do that.
Good.
Again, referring to Grant saying that he uses a calm voice, but it doesn't always work. And that's true. Sometimes the problem is bigger than the person can handle, or the customer is way too angry or something like that. And the calm voice and trying to handle it calmly just doesn't work.
Yeah, it is absolutely true. Of course, you have to remember that sometimes people in the store, they might have other problems in their life. They might be angry about something outside of their experience with you, but they're just kind of getting upset with you because you're there right now. But it is very difficult, especially when you're a young person and this person that you're trying to help is acting in a very crazy, difficult way. So Grant has faced this. You're trying to be calm, you're trying to make the person happy, but it doesn't seem to be working. As he says, the customer keeps complaining, right? So like, I've helped you with your problem, sir or madam. I found you the thing. I fixed the thing. I answered your question. Why are you still upset? Why are you still complaining? And when people complain, oh, I hate people who complain because they're always going, blah, blah, blah. My life is so bad and this is so annoying and I'm so angry about this. And I'm trying to tell them, but hey, you're still young. You're healthy. Tomorrow's a new, and then they go on and they go on and they're always talking about the bad things in life and never noticing the good. Don't you hate people like this when they complain all the time? And that's what it is to complain.
Yes. And so, again, you could have already tried to help them, but some people, like you said, they just don't stop.
Right.
And
so it's hard because you're often taught the customer is always right. Right? That's a sort of idea, feeling you should have. Let's make them happy. Let's make sure they leave the store with a smile. But sometimes the customer isn't right. They're just really mean and angry today.
Yes. That's a great, thing to think about, but then when you're actually in that kind of part-time job or full-time job facing a lot of customers, you realize that's not always true because, like you said, sometimes they're mad about something else that happened earlier in their life and they're just yelling at you, and that's not right. So shouldn't say that they're right. Yes. And so the nice thing though in this situation is that both Ariana and Grant are part-time workers.
Okay.
So as much as they've tried to help already, it's not really their job to completely fix everything. And that is what Ariana says next. And she says, yes, So the best thing for me to do is to get the manager because that's their job. If you really can't help the customer and they're still complaining and they're still upset and still angry, send them to the manager.
Exactly right. Because, of course, they're the boss. They can do things you can't do. And they're also there to help you. I mean, you should try to help the customer. Yes. You should try to solve the problem. But if what you're able to do isn't working, then that manager is there to help you. And they should come in and, take over from you when you can't make that person happy. Let's go over to Tina one more time.
Ariana 说她也会这样做，但不一定每次都管用。Grant 附和着说客人还是会一直抱怨啊，所以 Ariana 认为最佳做法就是请经理来。那这里提到了一个单字 complain 动词就表示抱怨。Ken complained about the cold weather. Ken 抱怨寒冷的天气。接着我们回到对话当中。
All right, we are back learning how to deal with unhappy customers. As a worker in a store, in a business, in a restaurant, you should try to make that customer happy and fix their problem. But sometimes, if that customer just seems to really want to be angry, they're just there to get mad at someone and yell and shout. And yeah, this sadly does happen. Sometimes you can get help as the worker. As Grant says, yeah, managers. These are the people you can come to when you need help with that customer who you can't make happy. The manager should step in. And as Grant says, yeah, managers have the power to offer more to the customers. That's right. Managers are the boss. They can kind of set the rules, change the rules. They can do things that you, as the worker, are probably not allowed to do, like give the customer a lower price or give them a new product. This is broken and so they're like, okay, we'll just take the broken one. Even if you broke it, we'll give you a new one. As a worker, you can't often do that. You don't have the authority or the power to do that, but managers do. So they can give more options and find other ways to make that person happy, hopefully.
Yes, and then so Ariana responds, right, and our manager has our back. So, yeah, not literally has your back, because how could that be? But
don't take my back.
This phrase, A has B's back, or someone has someone else's back, it just means that they support you and they're there to help you and they are going to kind of step in if you have trouble. So you can always say, like, if you have a friend who in kind of a silly scenario, maybe they were about to slip and fall and you caught them and you say, don't worry, I have your back. And it's basically like, I'm there to help you, I'm there to support you, and I will kind of step in when needed. And so in this case, obviously, they are going to cover or protect their employees. They're going to support their employees. So they have the employees' back. And that's really good to have a manager who has the employees' back, because that's not always true. Sometimes managers care only about the customer or only about the business and don't really care about their workers. So I would say that Ariana and Grant are both pretty lucky to have bosses or managers that have their back.
There you go. If people work as a team and they're always looking out for each other, whether it's on a sports team, with a friendship, in a family, or in a job, if you know that people are there to help, they've got your back. And that gives you a sense of safety and comfort, which of course is lovely to have. Let's go over to Tina. She's always got our back whenever we make mistakes on grammar and vocabulary, which is almost never, but she's always got our back.
Grant 也觉得请经理来处理事情比较好，经理才有权利可以提供客人更多补偿。Ariana 还说他们的经理很挺员工的。那这里有一个文法重点 ，A has B's back。A 支持 B， 意思就是 A 会在 B 的背后守着。比如说 ，My best friend always has my back。我最好的朋友永远支持我。接着我们回到对话当中。
All right, so let's hope that you guys, if you have part-time jobs, you also have a manager that has your back, like Ariana and Grant. Well, we don't have your back in your job, we can't, but we've got your back when it comes to learning English. So we're always here to help you guys, and we hope to see you back here tomorrow when we'll be learning more about part-time jobs, including what might happen if you have an accident at work. And sometimes with those part-time jobs, you can. I certainly burned my hands when I was cooking chicken.
Ouch.
Did you have an injury, cut yourself maybe in the kitchen or no, nothing? You're very lucky. But yes, it can happen. So getting hurt on the job is our next dialogue, all about part-time jobs, the dark side. We'll see you back here for that. Grant and Ariana share their difficulties at work.
Our shop's customers are pretty nice. However, one gave me trouble the other day.
We get those customers at the restaurant too. So, what did you do?
I did as I was trained. I spoke in a calm voice and helped the customer.
I also do that, but it doesn't always work.
The customer keeps complaining, right?
Yes, so the best thing for me to do is to get the manager.
Yeah, managers have the power to offer more to the customers.
Right, and our manager has our back.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 difficulty 名词困难 calm 形容词平静的 voice 名词声音 complain 动词抱怨。文法的部分 the other day 前几天 I saw Ellen at the bookstore the other day 我前几天在书店看到 Ellen as 加主词加动词依照什么的方式 May cooked the dish as her mom taught her before May 照着妈妈之前教她的方法做这道菜。A has B's back. A 支持 B. Don't worry, I always have your back. 别担心，我永远支持你。以上就是这课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Welcome to Which One Fits, the game where we tackle confusing English words.
I'm so ready for this one.
Today we're going to sort out the difference between process and procedure.
Before we jump in, let's see how this game works.
In Which One Fits, we'll read a sentence with a blank, and you have to choose between process and procedure.
So join us and challenge your English intuition.
All right, first sentence. To apply for a visa, you need to follow the correct blank. Which one fits?
I think that's procedure.
Correct. A procedure is a set of steps that must be carried out to complete a task. Let's try another one. The scientific research went through a long blank of analysis before the researchers came to any conclusions. Which one fits?
Is it process?
Yes, it is. A process is a series of actions or changes leading to a result. Nice work. You nailed both questions. All right, let's break it down clearly.
First, process is a noun that refers to the overall flow of actions or events that leads to a result. For example, learning a new language is a gradual process that takes time and practice.
It usually describes a natural progression, not just individual steps.
On the other hand, procedure is a noun that describes a structured set of steps for completing a task. For example, employees should follow the standard procedure when requesting time off.
It's often used for official or proper ways of doing things, like workplace operations, safety regulations, or medical protocols.
Here's an easy tip. A process is the full sequence, while a procedure is the step-by-step instructions.
Exactly. It's simple once you get the difference.
And both can appear in the same sentence. Starting a business is a complex process that includes following procedures for registering the company and obtaining licenses.
So, a process is often made up of one or more procedures that together achieve the final outcome.
Right. And now you'll never mix them up again.
Until next time, stay curious. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.